I'm going to share with you today the one principle that took my business to six figures in my first year as a coach from a standing start. And around 70% of that revenue came in the last 6 months of that first year once I understood this principle. And it's a principle that beats any marketing tactic or strategy. It's a principle that once you get, everything will change in your content and marketing. And it's something I'm seeing in the coaching space and online in social media is that coaches are losing themselves. See, they're seeing all these copywriting frameworks and hacks and hooks, and they're learning all these surface level things taught by marketing gurus, which sure, they work, but coaches are losing their soul, they're losing their essence, and they're forgetting the most important part of all of this, which is what I'm about to get to. Now, I know this to be true because this was once me. And before I share my story, if you're new here, by the way, my name's Joel. I'm a business coach to heart-led coaches. Now, my insecurity was once my intelligence. I always thought or always struggled with my language, my intelligence. I remember a teacher saying, stick to maths and physics, Joel, you'll never be good at speaking or writing. And naturally, he used the word stupid at one point as well. So you can see why I've had this hold up around my language and insecurity. And it led to always trying to prove myself. I was also the youngest of three, so I had insecurities kind of not being heard and not being seen. So I was always trying to prove myself. So once I became a coach, it was kind of a shadow of mine because I was getting validation from my clients, I was helping them, and it often led me to overteaching in coaching. But what I want to talk mainly about today is actually how I turn up in my content. See, because of this insecurity, I never thought I was enough. I never thought what I knew was enough. So I was constantly trying to learn and translate the things that I was learning into content. So I was reading Joe Dispenza and then trying to create posts from stuff that I was learning in Joe Dispenza's book. But because I wasn't living it, I didn't have any integrity or congruence with what I was sharing. I was just translating the learning and very much speaking in how to. And I think people could pick up on that. They could sense the lack of authenticity. So whilst I got lots of likes, lots of engagement, I didn't get many clients. And there was a moment where I was challenged on a piece of content and I folded because I wasn't living it. And in that moment, I was like, wow, I'm translating here. I'm learning things and then giving things. And I had a moment of, I'm only from this point forward going to share things that are true to me and I've experienced, because if I've experienced them and they're true to me, no one can challenge me, because that challenge felt visceral in my body. I was someone that really avoided conflict, and that was conflict in my body at that time, and it was visceral and I didn't want to feel it again. So I just swore from that point onwards that I'm only going to share things that I'm living. And a filter that I used from that point onwards was, am I living this? So my principle that I want to share with you that changed everything from me was learn it, live it, give it. It's so simple, but so many people are learning it and giving it. They're translating the things they are learning. They're not sharing the transformation they've been through. Now, Alex Hormozy says the same things. He says, do cool shit, share it, repeat. And it kind of has become my business model. Go create your dream life and share how you got there. Now that sounds all fine and dandy, right? But actually to go and live your dream life takes a lot. It takes inner work, it takes excavating, it takes integrating past wounds and trauma and feeling and leaning into discomfort and stepping in and doing things that scare you. But ultimately that's my business model. Now, once I started to really live into this principle, learn it, live it, give it, I asked myself, what am I living? And it was really clear the things the transformation that I'd been through was waking up at 5 a.m. I was once massively lazy and snooze for hours. Discipline, consistency, motivation. And these are things that are really true to me. Like I'd been through a huge transformation for those four. I was once around 125 kg. At that time, I was around 104, 105, in great shape, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I'd been through a huge transformation, and I owed a lot of it down to the morning routine, the discipline, the consistency that I developed, the personal responsibility that I developed. So once I started to speak from that place, once I started to share my deeply held convictions, that's when I started to create clients rapidly, because people wanted what I had. Now, I didn't see that because of the validation that I wanted and the not enoughness, but also I had the curse of knowledge. So the curse of knowledge is where you assume the things that are easy to you are easy to others. And I just assumed others didn't struggle with their morning routine. I was the only one. But when I started creating content around morning routines and discipline and consistency, that's when people started paying attention. That's when people started reaching out, asking for help. I didn't realize it was such a real problem for other people and other men that I was working with. But of course it was. I went through that transformation. So it means you are already sitting on a 6-figure coaching business. So I would encourage you to really dig into your past, dig into your story, dig into the things that are actually easy to you. Perhaps the things that people ask you for advice for. Maybe even reaching out to some clients and saying, hey, why did you choose to work with me? Or even friends, like, what do you see in me? What qualities? What do you respect in me? What do you think comes easy to me that isn't easy to others? Because it's often very hard to see ourselves, to see the things that are so ingrained in us. It's the curse of knowledge at play. And then share your story, share from this place. And you'll see that sharing your truth, sharing your experience, and sharing from the place of how I will always beat any marketing hack or tactic. Because if you're living out of alignment, or you're sharing something you're not living, people can sense that. People sense authenticity. So the best marketing hack I know is living your truth, speaking your truth, and really living in alignment and congruence. If you are feeling imposter syndrome right now, it's probably because there is lack of alignment. I don't feel imposter syndrome at all now. I once did, because I was out of alignment. I was out of alignment with the things I was sharing. Now I put stuff out there and it's true to me. I'm shooting this video pretty much unscripted because it's my story. It's my experience. You can't argue with that. And that leads to so much freedom, but also this authenticity. And, one of the best marketing strategies I know is authenticity. So good luck with it all. And I will speak to you very soon. Sending love.